I'm sitting in this place taking in the ambience, never even having used this feature of this tablet in front of me, which is a miracle to itself that we don't need to get lost thinking about wafers of silicone that we've made to transcribe and record our very essence, the fact that we happened, our pictures, our voice. There are a lot of helpful things that I prescribe to friends and students, as is my profession and vocation, that sometimes I don't, that notion of you need to take your own medicine. And so today, in all of my pain, in maintaining an optimistic nihilism and a joy for life in all of my disability, I decided to come and sit out on the back porch of the patron we're staying with over the holidays and let the sun shine in my chest. Face the sun and engage in that deep and intentional Wim Hof breathing that re-cements life into you. I often liken it to if you had to manually inflate a bouncy castle, and what an insurmountable task that would be. And yet the more I study about our brain chemicals, the more I know that this is how we work. That there's this notion of making yourself bright. The calisthenics, the yoga of moving on purpose. Well, what if you were to breathe on purpose? And what if you were to remember that fundamentally, if you take away all the other rules and cultural bullshit they put on top of you for your time here, your jobs, the two things you have to do are breathe and drink water. Even eating is a luxury, but you have to breathe and you have to drink water, and you have to get really good at doing that. And everything else is, well, it's extra noise, it's extra bullshit. But if you don't do those two things, and all of this is very hilarious to me, it's very amusing to me, because as my loving wife and partner points out, for the first 12 years of my life, I didn't have a good relationship with breath. For the first 10 years, I was asthmatic. And it's only through the socialism of the United States Air Force that I was an experiment that was kept alive for so long. And some people saw value in keeping me around and cultivating my mind and letting me continue to have life. And so for Wim Hof to come along and say, hey, there's this intentional breath work that might take away your pain, it might lower your inflammation, it might re-cement you back in yourself and give you a very present and purposeful spark again. It's my job to think a lot about business and marketing and the intersection of art and intentionality and how that comes across and how that intersects and infects business and marketing. And I've been thinking a lot because as you lean into the empathy with a capital E of having a message, The best message you can have is one that goes along with whatever season you find yourself in. And remembering that there are seasons and that times change. And that moaning wail of the trash truck going by. Anyway, seasons change. This is the beautiful message of life. Anytime I help a student inflate a project of theirs, the number one thing I say that we're going to look at is the notion of time with a capital T. And you change with time. And all of this is to say that the winter time is a time where you remember. You take little for granted, because you realize that your business at a fundamental level, and everyone is in business for themselves, even if you have a 9-to-5 job, you're in business. The principalities of your land expect you to model a household that will at least turn a profit, if not well-adjusted children. And thus, the winter reminds us that we are really singing for our supper every day, and if nothing else, you're running your mouth and building relationships that will allow you to stay warm. Because people value your continuance, your existence. What if you didn't have anyone that wanted you to stay warm? There are plenty of those people. Of a certain fundamental loneliness that we all go through. I'm blessed to have a lot of things. I'm staring at the leaves on the deck here as I think past and look past this wafer, this stack of electronics in front of me that captures the miracle of my voice. I'm blessed to have so much. Even if it's a van and it sits amidst a pile of pickled leaves on the ground. This morning I'm sitting here meditating in a similar spot to that which my own mother might have. And she was a lady who was cold all the time, that she always complained about being cold. So to sit here and face this winter sun, it's what? Maybe in the mid-40s? And yet the sun is still warm so long as you can face it and stay out of the shadows. Intentionally breathing, my heart thought up a rhythm and a song. 2 plots over from this one, all the houses here are stamped out on acreages. And 2 plots over from this one was the chickens. And then 2 squirrels in love were in the skeletal tree above me. The wailing and the gnashing of the trash truck. Woe is me, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. Look at what I have to do. I don't happen often in front of people, to be honest. That's why I'm even doing this experiment. It's rather egotistical, but you have to be to say, hey, I was here. So here I am, talking at this thing and thinking, sorting my mind and recharging my spirit. The trash truck was almost too much for me, I'll be honest. I was originally going to talk about how I had harmonized with Table Saw Man 2 plots down from here, and how, rather than let that get to me, I found a harmony in it, because it does. Even though it's rather high-pitched and grating, there's a tonality to it. You can harmonize. You're a tiny life. We're all much smaller and not as tough as we think we are, and so we can't just psychically barf forth our own reality on top of this world and impose our will everywhere. And so the best we can do is be in harmony with the patterns we find ourselves with, even if we don't agree with them, until we can flow on through. This is where I find myself this morning. At my father's house. Oddly enough. And he is not here. And his dog is always worried. There's Table Saw Man. This has gone on long enough. If you listen to even a moment of this, thank you for happening with me. I intend to talk more about empathy, storytelling, marketing your mind, and the power of voice soon. What do we say? Breathe well, drink water, stay curious, and understand love. This has been Andrew at Snail Space.